How's it going, Phil?
Man, it's good to see you.
Been a while.
Before we get into, I don't even know how to introduce you anymore because you've got your fingers in so many pies. I say the captain of the Apollo, the captain of the Monte Carlo, the Amigo, the blah 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 blah. You've really gone to the apex of sport fishing. You've really done a great job.
Yeah, well, I guess I hate my money. It's been a good road. Yeah, so I guess a few things have changed since I've been on here last, but I've got my finger in a few pies for sure.
Before we go into anything else, I want to get our relationship straight for everybody who's watching out there because we go back
It goes back a long ways.
a long way, right? My
back a long
kids
ways.
were little kids and now they're big kids.
Yeah, so when they used to help me out, and I guess I was
The babysitter.
a semi babysitter. God, they were little. I don't
Yeah,
even
they
know what year- I
were,
don't even know
right?
what year that was.
What'd you call Patrick? Parakeet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that had to be in, what, 99, 2000 ish.
Yes.
So 20 something years ago.
Wow.
And now I mean, they're bigger than me.
And I can't pay anybody a better compliment than to leave my kids with them for the day.
You know?
And I did that time in and time out. And both boys have great work ethic.
Yeah.
They're both, they
I think boats give that to you.
I do too.
Over time. If you're a young kid, you work for the right bunch of guys. I think it instills a good work ethic.
I do too.
Like there's some good hard workers that come off of these boats, for sure.
So tonight we're going to get into all kinds of stuff. Albacore, bluefin tuna, what the future portends, so much more. But let me read a couple comments.
Sure.
And I'm going to have to keep up with this because something tells me you're going to be super popular tonight. So let me.
Be a nice change of pace.
Otto says he's really thrilled. Dan Smith, hello Phil, Captain Jeff, and all the great Friedman Adventures family. Wishing you all a super evening and tight lines this season. Jeff Yeoman says, I'm ready for this one. Good evening. Phil, Captain Jeff, and the Friedman Adventure family. Scott Bucher, how long are the trips on the Apollo? Scott has a question.
Well, it's mostly charter business, so that's something new. I guess we can talk about.
Yeah.
Since last time I was on the show, I think it's been almost a year.
Has it?
Yeah.
That's
So
too long.
we ended up picking up the Apollo last year. I got the Apollo. We took over from Jody in June, like the beginning of June last year.
Right.
It was kind of a rush to get ready for the season. We had a bunch of work to do. We kind of crammed it all into a few weeks and ran the season, and we've had some time to do some work to the boat this winter. But to answer Scott's question, it's predominantly charter. So we do anywhere from 1 days to 5.5, 6.5 days.
Yeah.
So we had, and the boat has been running Guadalupe trips from about mid-September through mid-December for, I don't know, 15, 20 years now. And unfortunately, as everybody knows, Guadalupe got cut out of the picture.
Yeah,
Which
unfortunately.
was really sucked for us because we had a full schedule, and we lost a lot of that. But we can comfortably run 3 days, 4-day trips. Like if a guy wants to do a multi-day trip in the fall for bluefin or whatever, we could easily do 3 and 4 day trips, no problem.
I hope you don't mind. I was eavesdropping on you. You were talking out there, and I listened in. And I don't know if you're going to be angry at me or not, but I heard what you said. You were talking to somebody, and you said, I'd rather be broke than to have a boat that's not presentable for the public. And you have been pouring a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the Apollo and getting her back together. It's really important to you that when somebody walks on board, they have a good experience.
You want to have a nice product, right? Like everybody wants a clean boat, a nice product. And, between myself, my partners, we've done a good job of that over the years of fixing these boats up and keeping them nice. I don't think the general public is aware how much money these boats consume to keep them, updated and nice, especially if you want to have nice equipment. Guy wants a good sonar, you want to have nice galley equipment and everything. We shovel money into these boats like we're shoveling coal into the fire to keep a steam engine running. These boats eat up a lot of money, and you want to have a presentable product. You want to have a clean product.
But it's costly.
There's certain things in the business that you can control, right? Like we have control over our boats, the cleanliness, the service that people get. We can't control fishing. we can't control the bait, we can't control the weather. So if we can make a presentable product and show everybody a good time, we're for that matter, we're as much in the entertainment business as we are in the fishing
Absolutely.
business.
I mean, definitely.
If you start with a nice product, you've already set the tone for the rest of your operation. And if a guy puts in an honest effort and you had a good crew, then you've got half the battle won anyways.
Absolutely. Michael Limon is a kid who comes down here a lot, fishes with his grandpa. He's got a baseball game. He said, I'm just tuning in for a little bit. I'll come back and watch the rest of it. But Michael, good to see you. Greg Sheridan, hi Phil, Jeff. Can you do the sheep's head mating call? That's a Tino Valentine thing, right? Do you do that?
We'd
No.
have to do some drinking for me to get this.
No question about it. Do you have a, I don't know that you have a, what is it, a call sign? Or I mean, I know all these other captains. Do you have one?
Everybody's got something.
What's yours?
People don't really call me by it. I've been coined over the years. Guys called me cowboy, but
okay, cowboy. I like that.
You don't hear it very often, but
I thought about calling Scott Buchert. He's on here with 10,000 questions. U-Ban, or you know why?
Because he likes to pour coffee on me.
Yeah.
Yep.
He made me swear that I wouldn't tell that story tonight, but my God, that was funny, wasn't it? Well, not that funny. You got a hot cup of coffee.
Funny for you.
In your face. Yeah.
It was hot.
I walked into the galley and you're like wiping your face off. I go, what happened?
He caught me in the heat of the moment. Yeah.
He's a good kid. He's a hard worker. I mean, he's a kid that works hard too.
Yeah, I've known Scott a long time too.
Yeah. So the Apollo is going to run here for how long? We've got a trip May 31st with a few spots open. That should be White Sea Bass City.
Yeah, so we switched the schedule up for the boat. So when Jody had the boat, well, JJ had. Let me go back even a little further. When JJ had the boat,
JJ Garrettson,
he had the boat in Santa Barbara for springtime, and then he would take it to Fisherman's and run his summer trips, and then into the Guadalupe season. Jody changed that a few years ago, and instead of he cut out the Santa Barbara springtime stuff, and he was taking the boat down to Puerto Vallarta and running it down there after Guadalupe and like into the spring. Brought the boat back up, do his maintenance. We're not doing the we're not doing the Puerto Vallarta thing. Obviously now with me being part owner in the landing, we're going to have the boat out of here. It's close to my house. I can keep an eye on the boat and maintain it up here. The boat will be running spring trips out of 22nd Street until the end of June. We do have some May openings. Our June is pretty much sold out. As soon as we get in, I think we get in from a 3-day, June 30th, and the boat will go straight to Seaforth. And then we'll be July, August, September, October, Seaforth. And then probably the first little bit of November, and then the boat will be back up here.
Yeah, okay, good. Carlos Moscata said he's looking forward to a 2-day trip that we had at the end of May. So we are May 31st to June 2nd with you.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, what would you, I mean, it's hard to say exactly, but I'm thinking sea bass,
Something's
right?
different this year for sure.
Oh, for sure, right? Much colder water, right?
Well, you saw the winter we had. We've had a real winter this year. Much needed rain. I can't remember too many years where we had this wet of a winter where it wasn't followed by some kind of fishing. The only thing I have to go off is my own speculation, just like you. But, we have experience at this, and I thinking back on really wet winters, it seems like.
Are you going to say albacore?
No, that was you were going to say. You're the albacore guy.
I am, man.
I hope so. That would be great.
Wouldn't that be better?
I don't know. I heard him on the news talking this morning that there's some sort of a warm water body of water that's developing.
Yeah, it's down off Peru right now.
Those wind sailors were washing up on the beach. That's something that's a little bit different. I don't know. There's a lot of squid around this year. The market wasn't buying it like I'm sure that
shut it down, right?
Yeah, the Chinese market. I think the China market was off or down this year. So there's a lot of squid out here this year at the islands that really didn't get commercial fish too hard. I know a lot of it was smaller fish, so the markets didn't want it for that reason. But there was also a lack of market overseas. But that's a good sign too that there's a lot of squid around, and a lot of it was unmolested all winter. So,
yeah, right.
So who knows? We might have a spring. We might have a sea bass spring. We can only hope.
It would be nice to see the sea bass bite again at Catalina Island.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen that in years. Like the traditional bait grounds, you know, sea bass at Catalina. It's been a long time. Like for whatever reason, this stuff seems to swim up north. You know, Channel Islands. I mean, Tucker and those guys have had it pretty good up there.
They've been killing it.
They've
That's
had
been the epicenter, right?
They've had it pretty good the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see it slide down here. I know some of the yacht guys I talk to who tell me to keep my mouth shut, but they've been catching some big sea bass.
I know there's been some.
You know those guys too. And they've been doing pretty good on it. And a few yachts, sport guys like the Blackfish down there, Davies Locker, they've had a pop at it here and there. So seems like that's like in our future maybe. I'm hoping.
I hope so. I hope we have a good spring. Like I said, we're just finishing up our maintenance. I'm hoping to be wrapping things up by the end of the week, and you know, put the final touches on everything.
You're
next
still
week.
doing work on the boat?
Oh yeah, we're still working on
God
it.
almighty.
We did a lot of work this year.
I mean, I've been in here at 8 o'clock at night, and I see you coming in here and grabbing stuff.
It's been a long couple months. Been a long couple months. Plus the weather. You know, we got everything like for purposes of painting and stuff. Every time we'd get a nice day of weather, we get 4 days of rain. So that definitely kicked the can down the road for us. But we did a lot of work. We're wrapping it up here this week, and I think our first trip is not this coming weekend, but the following weekend.
Got a ton of people watching us tonight. Chuck Zimmer says he'll be on that 2-day trip. Can't wait for that. 540 Slinger, Jeff Yeomans. Captain Jeff, I'm going to need to put something together on the Apollo when it gets back from Seaforth in November. Is that possible?
That is possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just ask the what's the phone number, or how can he get in touch with you guys?
He can get in touch with us. Well, the easiest way is just go to our website. It's Apollo Charters. If you click on the calendar tab, you'll see what's available, what's not, and then all our phone numbers are right there on the website.
All right, good deal. Scott Bugert says he's got an albacore bet with me, $175. I said
Phil,
there will be albacore.
You've been screaming albacore long enough.
2 years.
If you say it long enough, sooner or later you're going to be right.
God, I'm telling you, it's almost at the point now where I can't win because I've been saying it for 2 years. Jeff,
it would be
the water this year couldn't be any better. The missing ingredient for me right now, as I look back over the years, is anchovy. I wish I saw some more anchovy in the local environment. I called some guys in San Diego before we came on air. I go, you guys seeing any anchovy in the bait? And they said, no, not really. It's all sardine. And I was talking to Mike McDaniels on the Sea Adventure 80, and he goes, the minute I go out to the receiver and I see all anchovy is the minute I'll go do an exploratory trip. I think that's the missing ingredient. But, man, the freaking buoy off Long Beach 2 days ago was 50 degrees.
Yeah, it's cold water here. It's cold water at the island. I think that albacore made its way. It was west of here, I think, a few hundred miles at one point last year.
Yeah.
It swings up for whatever reasons, the current water conditions. But trust me, nobody wants to see it more than I do. But
yeah, do you remember those?
I can't predict it. The last two albacore I saw was in 2013.
Okay, that was a good year, right?
I don't think we caught much of it, but
yeah.
I remember that's the last two I saw.
Did you catch them on a boat you were running, or what?
Those were on the Ultra, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Out of San Diego?
No, we were up
out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those were. I actually remember the group we caught them with. It's a charter group I have this year on the
Really?
Apollo, yeah.
It's freaking weird that there's a group of people out there that have no idea what that's all about.
I hope they find out. Very user-friendly fish.
Yeah, right? I mean, they're not that big. They bite nails. They're great eating.
They're. I remember when I was a deckhand, 96, 97. I was going to say 96, 97. I didn't care if I ever saw another one. But now I wish we had them back.
I know. Yeah, Tommy Rothler used to tell me that there were guys leaving albacore in the parking lot up at Fisherman's Landing, like just throwing. He goes,
"We bring them up by the cartfuls."
Yeah, and he used to say, "Someday this is going to haunt those guys that are wasting that fish," and he was right. Well, he was prophetic in that way.
And I mean, let's be real. At one of these days, we're going to come out of the harbor and there's going to be no more bluefin either.
That's right.
And that's kept this fleet sustained for a long time.
Oh,
in fact, the last couple of summers, we've been in bad shape. We've been in dire straits without the bluefin.
And the Dorado.
And we're obviously in a cycle where it's been here. It's been outstanding fishing. But there will be a show at some point where we'll be like, remember when we caught those big bluefin?
Yeah.
And it'll move on. I hope it stays around, but I mean,
But everything's cyclical,
nothing stays
right?
forever.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
So-
as long as you and I've been in this business, we see these cycles, right?
I've seen all kinds of it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Carlos says apparently Jeff has been eating his protein. I guess you think you're like...
Carlos, that's my buddy.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
I haven't. He used to work with me back when I worked for Glenn, and I guess the late '90s, early 2000s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was asking you about Glenn Mueller. I worked for on the Redondo special.
Mm-hmm.
I had so many good times with him. Lori Mueller is your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And how is Glenn? Is he good?
Glenn's good. Yeah, he's good. He's 70. I think he's or is going to be 75.
Wow.
He's still Cosmo. Still Cosmo. He's good. He's healthy.
We had a lot of good times, him and I.
Yeah. I see him periodically. I see him on the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm happy to hear that he's doing okay because,
Sure.
a lot of guys, I mean, from that era are gone now,
There's less and less of them.
I know.
For sure.
I know. Charles Zimmer wants to know what the grade of bluefin tuna was in 1 day range. It was 25 to 40 pounds. Are you up on that?
I am not.
Supreme limits of bluefin
Yeah,
today?
I heard that.
Pacific Queen limits. I don't know what's going on here today since I've been, but it sounds good, man. It sounds like it's biting in the daytime. It's biting a fly line sardine.
Yeah, same thing it did last year. We guys were busy, and then April, May last year, and I think that was some of the better fishing they had last year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of doing the same thing.
So-
down below the border, it's gonna be the same pattern.
So you think so? I mean, it's a little bit like...
I mean, something might change this year. We'll see, but I mean, it's certainly. I mean,
It seems like the same thing.
rinse and repeat.
Maybe a little slower because of the cold water, you think? Or who knows, right?
I don't think those things even care. They're here for whatever reason. The bait's here. I don't know.
You're
I'm
honest
like,
about
all I
it.
can do
Nobody
is-
knows.
I mean, bluefin are on their own schedule. They bite when they want to bite, and they put their nose in the mud when they want to.
Wild Willie says, hello to you. Thanks, Jeff. I'll contact Lori about November. Greg, where will the Humboldt squid be this year, if any? Are they cold water? They're warm water, aren't they? Or what are
Yeah, we haven't seen
They're
those.
kinda
in a few
weird,
years.
right?
Yeah.
they? You don't want to see them, do you?
Not really. Truth be told, not really. No. It's great for the half-day boats when they go out there and catch a couple hundred.
Like
of them.
if they're 60-pounders.
Yeah, well, there's years of, I don't know when the last time it was, but I remember those guys were going out there and catching 400 or 500 of them a trip, 12, 15 pounders, whatever.
Right.
But I mean, God, it makes a mess of things.
It makes a mess because they're so voracious, their appetites, that the theory is they consume.
I don't know if they
everything.
do any favors to our local environment as
Right.
far as like the reefs and our local fish. I think they're kind of
They
they're
just
pretty
wipe
aggressive.
everything. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're crazy, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
they're pretty. If you, no, I could do without.
So, I mean, like I said, I have a hard time describing what it is you do. You are into, you got the Monte Carlo, the Freedom, the Apollo, you got the landing. I mean, how do you keep that all under control? That's a lot, man.
It is, but I've got good partners and good help. So you just one thing at a time, one hurdle at a time. Mike does a great job managing the landing.
He does.
We're in the process of renewing our lease here.
Is that a done deal or?
It's in negotiation, but
Yeah.
it sounds like it's there's details to work out. But,
Yeah.
So there's that. We had a pretty lean maintenance year on the Freedom this year. The boat's back online. It's running. It's our schedule's up for that boat. Monte Carlo's back online. Actually been carrying some loads of people.
They have been doing really good.
Yeah, they've been doing good, and so that boat's up and running. Mark Paisano Jr., who is a really hard worker.
God, is he ever.
Proud of him. He's done a great job. He's
Me
running
too.
the Amigo. I run some of the trips over there for some of the select charters, and Mark pretty much handles the bulk of it. But he's been doing a great job, and we've kind of focused our energy on the Apollo this year to get it up and running and on track. So actually we took on another business this year, land based. I got a lot of different things going on, but gotta have good help.
I know. Mark Paisano Jr., what a great kid. I mean, he comes in here all the time. He's a smart, he's very aware of politics and everything. He'll come in here and talk politics with
Yeah,
me.
no, he's pretty astute. He pays attention. Good good kid. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he works his
Hard
tail
worker,
off,
yeah.
man. Yeah, I mean, and that is one thing about this industry. Talk to me about crew, and is it difficult nowadays to find somebody who's willing to work their butt off? It's gotta be, because you
it
got
is.
people who don't want to go freaking work for $18 an hour doing anything anymore.
But that's not just here. That's across the board. Like you said, that's even like, I mean, everywhere you go, the restaurants have help wanted signs. It is hard to find good crew members. I think the biggest part of that is them taking away of our ability to have pinheads on the boat. You know, like when you were a kid, I was a kid, or
Yeah,
even
right.
back when I met you. You know, we were lined up, ready to go. We wanted to work. We were kids, but you know, now you got social media and video games and all these, you know, laws that we're not supposed to have these kids on the boat, and it just makes this shit a lot more difficult for us. So you don't have that younger crop being trained, ready to step into a deckhand position. So that hurt a little bit, I think, and just
It's a shame, actually.
it's a
I
different
think,
generation. Yeah, I mean, for me, being a young kid, what more do you want? You're out on the water, you're doing something you love, you're going home with, you know, cash in your pocket at the end of the day. I loved every minute of it.
Those were the best days of my life, man.
They
And
were.
that was on the Redondo special with Barney Barnes, and then Glenn came along.
Make lifetime friends.
Yeah,
You know, people that well, look, we still know each other, but you know, the list goes on and on. And people you met, lifelong friends, charter groups I've known for years, whatever. It's just we're fortunate. We have crew. We've got some young guys, and we've got some older guys that have been doing it a while. And you just got to work that balance to keep everybody happy, keep them working, and I don't know. It's not easy.
but let's face it, those guys and you too could be making way more money doing something else if you put this amount of energy into it. But
The amount of hours I put into this, yeah,
but there's something to be said about doing something you love.
there is, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it goes with anything. I mean, money's not everything. You got to find your happiness. You know, like these guys ask me questions all the time. Younger guys, and like, you know, they want to own a boat. They want to get their license. It's just, you got to set yourself goals. You need a short-term goal, and go for that. Like whatever it may be. You know, like you want to get your license. Well, work on a boat. Work towards getting your license. Get your time. Go get your license. Then you want to maybe run a boat. You know, so let that be your midterm goal. I want to run a boat. You know, within 4 years of getting my license. Well, if you pay attention, that's very possible.
Yeah.
And you run a boat, and maybe your long-term goal is to own a boat. You know what I mean? So you just have to set certain goals, you know.
Did you do that from the very beginning? Did you have those goals?
Yeah, I've been on the paper chase for a while.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I always wanted a house, you know, and then once you achieve something, it kind of motivates you to, you know, kind of go for that next thing. Like,
Yeah.
all right, I got this. Can I make it a little better, a little bigger, push it a little further? You know, you want to, I mean, I think that's, I don't know, at least for me, it's pushing my boundaries all the time. Like, what else can I do, or what you want to, I don't know. That's how I think of it.
Yeah, I
know,
got
like,
you.
I don't think I want to stay stagnant. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you want to,
Keep pushing.
yeah. Keep pushing.
Even though we're getting older in life, especially me, I'm way above you. But I mean, I'm the same way, man. I mean, when Mike Morrison brought me back here and said, hey, how would you like this to be your podcast studio? And I said, shoot, that sounds good. And then there was a time where we were waiting for Mark Paisano and Strasser and everybody. And then I went to you. And you actually, I think, were the key to making that all happen. And yeah, I mean, I wake up every morning wanting to do this. I love doing
And now
this.
look, you're good at what you do. From 976 tuna days when I met you,
Right.
You started that in the 80s to now, and you keep, you know, this show I know has grown and grown and grown.
It's incredible.
and it's kind of
Thanks
taken
to
on.
everybody out there.
Yeah, and it's got its own heartbeat now. So, you know, who knows what's next?
I know, man. Let's keep it going. That's all I can say. Chuck Zimmer wants to know, any hope of a fish processor at 22nd Street?
I doubt it, because I don't think there's the volume of boats that bring in that kind of, you know, catch that would make a processor worthwhile.
Yeah.
Potentially, I would say because the independents used to run out of here, and even further back when Mark had the Islander, they did used to run some 10-day trips out of this landing. They would go fish Guadalupe and everything before the whole check-in process. They would clean fish, I think, back then on the way up. I think, if anything, perhaps we could, if there was enough business for it, you could probably make an arrangement to where the processors would send a truck here, and either you'd have to pick your fish up there, or I'm speaking only on assumption.
Yeah, right.
One here, no, I don't think we have enough volume of multi-day boats coming in to justify it.
No, you say that, but man, sometimes like when I'm here at night, there's a real buzz out there, like 100 guys out there, and some are going on the Freedom, and some are.
And we do have a lot of boats here.
Yeah.
But most of these guys are running 1 to 2 day trips. Like we do have some 3-day trips on the Apollo this year, but I mean, aside from that, most of your trips, the longest length you're going to see is probably a 2.5.
Yeah. On the Apollo.
No,
probably,
I'm saying
right?
Maybe on the Freedom or some of these charter boats will come in from a 2.5. But I don't think there's enough volume here for a processor.
So we have a 2-day trip with you.
Mm-hmm.
What is the advantage of a 2-day trip over a 1-day trip? I like the 2-day.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you have obviously more time on the water. The more days you have, the more opportunity you have. Like you may miss on day one, and you're talking to guys or figuring things out, or hey man, maybe a bit at a different island.
Yeah.
That you would never have the opportunity to go to on a 1 day, or maybe even on a day and a half, where that night you could put yourself in position to make bait and travel, and be at a totally different island or different location in the morning. So there's always that.
Would you tell people generally, hey, if you can do it, do a 2-day as opposed
Sure.
to right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it just gives you so many more options.
More time on the water, yeah. I mean,
And plus, with that nighttime bluefin bite, you can fish that nighttime bluefin bite, and you can fish multiple islands and everything else.
Yeah, you could travel. We did a lot of that last summer. We're fishing on the bank or something in the daytime, fishing bluefin at night, and maybe fishing an island the next day or something. But yeah, in springtime, especially when there's bait to be made, and we're making squid. Yeah, it can be a game changer.
Is there still a lot of squid around? From what you're ascertaining from what you're hearing from guys? And does that come and go?
There's so few trips getting out right now. I think these guys have been getting squid off the light boats.
Uh-huh.
And I think just with the general water conditions, they've been fishing mostly rockfish and stuff. But Sean had a few halibut the other day.
Right.
I think he had a couple sea bass last week or something. But there's squid. There's squid to be made. I don't know. I've had my head down here trying to get this boat done.
You're working on the Apollo too much. I know, exactly.
I'm not. I kind of got tunnel vision right now.
So assuming there is squid, and I've heard there is, does that act as a magnet for predators like sea bass and halibut and all that?
Sure.
Bodes well for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, like a lot of times where we find the bait, we find the fish, or you may even go through an area at night and see the bait, and you may mark the fish under the bait or with the bait, but usually they go hand in hand, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, hit that like button, everybody out there. I see some guys saying to do that. Dan Smith is saying for everybody to do that. Dan Smith also says the mics sound really good, which, you know what, I actually charged the mics today, so
good.
I wasn't doing that before. It was all screwed up. Joe Sirwald, hey, Phil, Captain Jeff, look forward to seeing you and the crew ringing up the fish counts this season. Any YouTube show that tells the new future of the Apollo, I guess, near future of the Apollo. What's going on with the Apollo?
Well, our season looks.
He's wishing you a stellar season. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. No, our books look really good. We're for the most part we're pretty well sold out for our San Diego season through the end of October.
Really?
We have a few openings.
Yeah.
I think we had a cancellation today on a 2-day, but there's a handful of dates that are open. Maybe if somebody's interested in a 1-day or something. But no, we redid the galley this year. We added some cabinets, storage space, all new galley equipment. Redid some of the flooring in there. We redid a lot of the electrical on the boat.
Is it staterooms?
It's half and half. So
Yeah.
the boat has it's the first half is bunks.
Yeah.
And there's some really nice large double bunks.
Yeah.
and then there's 5 staterooms going forward. So
Man, that's nice.
there's 4 2-man staterooms and 1 4-man stateroom. So
Wow.
like a charter master could have his own stateroom if he wanted it, a private stateroom. So
Yeah.
yes, it's set up very long range style. So it's a Bill Pool boat. It's the same boat builder as like the Royal Polaris, Polaris Supreme, American Angler. It's same hull. It's just a smaller version. It was made to be a charter boat.
And J.J. Garrettson ran that for so many years. Did you know him?
JJ ran it for years. I've developed a relationship with JJ here over the course of buying the boat and this refurbishing process. I do talk to him, and you know he definitely set the bar, I would say, for the boat. That
He did.
Yeah, like he's got a great reputation, and
He was a kid when I met him. I think it was on the Pegasus, and he was decking for Joe Chait. He must have been like 16, and I loved him during those times. In fact, Scott Mizell, who runs the Condor, him and JJ were decking on that boat, as I remember.
yeah,
And they were great kids.
If I'm not mistaken, JJ's a local kid here from Malibu.
Yeah, right.
And I know he had the Tracer, and then he bought the Apollo. Yes. And you know, a lot of the charters, everybody speaks very highly of him. You know, so
great guy.
I only hope to keep expectations up there. He was helpful to me in this whole process. You know, he's been commercial fishing albacore, but
Is he still? Yeah, he's still.
Yeah,
doing
no, he
that.
does. And so I was able to talk to him on the boat when this, you know, last year when this was all going down. He was just taking off to go fishing. So I've had a lot of interaction with him through the course of, you know, buying the boat and this whole process. So yeah.
Another thing that blew me away about him is his Spanish was impeccable.
Yeah, that
He's really good. He lived in Costa Rica for a while, so we had that in common because I lived there. And I don't even know how it happened, but at one point he said something in Spanish. I go, "Oh, you speak Spanish?" And it was freaking spot on.
I got to get with my Spanish.
Yeah. Are you trying to learn?
A little bit. I mean,
You can do it.
I know enough to pick out words from a conversation, but not to hold one.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see. Wild Willie, multi-day trips give you different fishing clientele. Seems the longer the trip, the nicer the people. Longer, more tuned in for fishing. Do you agree with that? You think longer trips equal better people?
I think our clientele is all
pretty good, right?
Pretty similar, man. I mean, most of these people fish all over. But I mean, I guess you could say that. Maybe you get the more serious fishermen. We could say that, like, right? Like, you're not going to get your half-day guy that's maybe budgeted to go out on a half-day trip versus a guy who goes 2 or 3 times a year and saves up, wants to go on a big long trip. So yeah, I mean, there's probably some truth to that.
But there's like, I mean, when you go on a bluefin tuna trip on the Apollo, if you're a novice angler, you're going to get coached along on how to do it, right? I mean, your crews are really good at that.
Yeah, it's from beginner to you know, and we have it all. Like all our charters vary. You know, I've got some guys like our first chart of the year here, Tom Motto. You know, for the most part, that group's a bunch of killers. You know, we got some guys that are gunslingers and some guys that are bunny slopers. So whatever, you know, that's depends. Just depends on the group.
Has your desire to catch fish stayed the same throughout the years, diminished, it's more now? Are you still the guy that I've known forever? I mean, I know the answer to this, but you still want to catch?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the day that I don't have a desire to kill fish is the day I probably don't need to be driving the boat anymore. So is it the same? Yes. Now, have I mellowed out a little bit? As far as like my demeanor, yes. I mean, I think with age comes maturity, but absolutely, I love it. It's the greatest feeling in the world, taking your customers and having a great day of fishing or catching limits of sea bass or having a good, you know, yellowtail bite or whatever it may be. I think anybody in this business that does this for a living would have, you know, feels that way. If you don't, then get out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're in the wrong business.
I think people can clearly see that. I was up in the wheelhouse with you and Mark Sonoda, and I was shooting video of you two guys, and you were pointing out bird schools and foamers, and you could feel it, man. I mean, those videos got thousands of views because it is so cool to see that.
I don't think it ever loses its excitement or its appeal. Like I still love watching yellowtail come up and boil. I love watching them chase the jig. I love that never gets old to me. And the feeling of having when you're coming home, you had a good day on the water, your customers are happy. It's a fantastic feeling. That's why we do this. I think my concentration's been spread out a little bit more over the past few years. I don't run a boat on a daily basis anymore like I used to. So, we're.
Do you miss that or no?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Like I have a little bit more time to focus on my personal life, which I never used to have.
Right.
So yeah, I do miss it at times, and then there's times I don't.
Right.
When the fishing's good and the weather's nice, yeah.
You want to be out there.
I miss it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, 540 Slinger. I was fortunate enough to charter the Freedom for a 2-day trip on my birthday weekend in late August. Any chance of Captain Jeff running that trip? Do you know Jeff Yeomans from 540 Slinger?
Of course.
I'm sure you do.
Know him very well.
Great guy.
Know him very well. I love Jeff. He's a great dude.
And
I really appreciate his business over the years.
And his service to the country. He's a Navy guy.
Yeah, no, Jeff's a great guy. I can't say enough about him.
Me either.
I probably will not. It would be probably either Trevor or Tino. Trevor's stepped up. He's running the boat now.
He's doing a great job.
Doing a fantastic job. He's grassroots. He's been with us from day one.
Yes.
Literally as a pinhead that did not even know how to tie up the boat. That's the only boat he's worked on, and now he's running the boat. And that's a pretty cool success story to me.
So cool.
And he's doing a great job. So it would probably be Trevor or Tino. I haven't run the Freedom in several years. Not that I couldn't or wouldn't. I just haven't. Maybe. I don't know. But, yeah. No, I haven't ran the boat in a while.
You know what's funny about Trevor? I asked him to do an interview in here, I don't know, a year ago maybe, and he was very, I can tell.
Shy?
I can tell. Yeah, I mean, I know, hey, I'm tying the boat up, or all these excuses start. And I got him in there, and he did one finally. And then the next time I asked him, he's like, yeah, no problem. And now it's like, no problem. So he got used to it, got comfortable, and he's great, man. He's really a great kid.
I like Trevor a lot.
Me too.
He's a hard worker. He's a good kid. And like I said, I knew his dad really well, who passed away under not so bitchin' circumstances.
I didn't even know that.
And he's been with us for, we've owned the boat, 10 years now, I guess?
Yeah.
Trevor's been with us literally from the beginning. And the first few trips he was on, he was so seasick. He didn't talk to anybody, couldn't talk. He didn't even know how to figure eight a line around a cleat.
Wow.
And he went from that to being, learning as a pinhead, becoming a deckhand, like basically the boat's engineer, to now he's running the boat.
What a success story that is,
and
right?
now he just had a kid,
right?
And he's growing up doing his thing. It's cool to see.
That's cool to see that in this industry, right?
It is.
And that's just a repetition of many other lives that we've seen in this business, right?
Seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of them come and go.
I know. I mean, the people in this business, I got to tell you, if I had to take advice from a freaking PhD from Harvard or a guy running a fishing boat, I would take the advice from a guy running a fishing boat.
Well, yeah.
Nowadays, I mean,
wish
they're
more
just
people
more
would.
honest and hardworking, and
I wish with all this, nonsense that we have to deal with, I wish they would incorporate our opinions into things a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, you got to wear a lot of different hats. You got to be a fisherman. You got to be a semi-mechanic. You got to be a businessman. You got to be, a psychotherapist half the time. So you got to deal with a lot of different personalities. So we wear a lot of different hats.
You also have to be ready if there's an emergency that takes place. And
Yeah.
I've been amazed. I've been on a boat when that occurs, and you're used to like the captain being kind of fooling around and joking and being a hard worker. But when that goes down, man, I'm just amazed at the professionalism that just burst out.
You got to be, like I said before, you got to be an entertainer. You got to be a fisherman. You got to be a businessman. But there's times to have fun. It's great to joke around and have your people laughing and have a good time. But there's times to be serious.
Yeah.
And if the guy upstairs is panicking, then everybody's going to panic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing. You're on an airplane. You don't want to see the guy that's flying the plane running around with his hair on fire, right? Because you're not going to feel real comfortable. So
That's right.
you gotta keep it together.
What's been one of the most harrowing incidents you've ever dealt with on a boat? Have you ever dealt with anything crazy? Heart attack or boat taking on water or anything like that?
We had an incident. Well, yeah, I have. I've had some incidents over the years. Some I don't really want to talk about. Some I will. Nothing that's. I've been fortunate that nothing cost anybody its life. Like,
yeah.
Like I know guys have had heart attacks and had to do CPR and it's not turned out so bitchin'. But I had a guy on a charter this year. We had a great. We were on a multi-day. I can't remember how many days the trip was, but it was actually a charter. That was some friends of mine.
Yeah.
And this guy that had come out, he actually was a doctor, and he wasn't even that old. He was, I think he was like he was about my age, 48, 49, 50,
yeah.
somewhere in there. We had a good day. We were fishing bluefin at night. The weather was up a little bit, and he had just caught. He had caught his first cow. It was a 200-pound bluefin, and we put it on the boat. Didn't think anything of it. I was up the side gaffing another fish, and my cook came up and grabbed the gaff out of my hand. He's like, "Hey, dude, you need to go in the galley right now." And I'm all, "What's up?" He goes, "Just go in the galley." And I ran around the corner, and the guy was laying on the floor with his eyes rolling back in his head.
Oh my God.
And he was still coherent enough to talk to us, but he was,
He was the doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he had some issues from COVID, or like he had long COVID or something like that.
Uh-huh.
His heart rate was like 178 or something. He was like almost in full arrest.
Oh my God.
So we turned it on pretty quick. Like I ran upstairs and I was like, "Hey Greg, downstairs now. It's time to go to work." Like
yeah.
I was on the horn talking to Coast Guard, and Greg was dealing with him, and I was kind of up and down the ladder. But it's scary, man. I mean, I don't want to have to,
No, of course not.
be the last guy, and that you see face to face who's, giving CPR to you.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody driving these boats desires to do that, but it happens. It does happen.
I'm with you there. Let's see. Have you heard from Tommy Lee? The guy wants to know, have you talked to Tommy Lee? Speaking of the Freedom.
I have not talked to Tommy Lee. The last time, I don't even know when's the last time I saw Tommy Lee. I want to say I saw him at the Fred Hall show probably a while ago. Not this recent one, 4 or 5 years ago, probably before COVID started.
Yeah.
I think as far as I know, to the best of my knowledge, he's living up somewhere around Isabella with his wife, and that's about all I could really tell you.
Yeah, I know that because we were up there fishing for, I don't know what the hell we were fishing for. My kids drugged me up there to fish for some crap. And
I think he's into, don't quote me on any of this, I don't know, but I think he's into like auto races. Like now, I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Daniel Sanchez says he's loving the show tonight. Jeff says, "Thanks, Jeff. I love fishing with Tino and Trevor. Also, it was just a shot in the dark to get you to come out and run the boat."
Yeah.
Tino, all the years I've known him for a long time, fished with him a lot. I never knew he spoke really good Spanish. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah. Tino's fluent.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
He lived in Mexico for a while.
Yeah, like some of our regulars will be up here. I always thought it was cool. Like he'd come up here and, walk in the office, he'd start having conversations in Spanish with some of the regulars, which I always thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Yeah, I need to get a little better on my Spanish.
Yeah, he was down there chasing senoritas, I think.
And, sure he was. Back in the 60s. Back in Nam.
Jared Doyle. Tino is back, question mark?
Tino is back.
Was he gone?
No.
He just took off the end of the season, right?
Yeah, he was, no, he's around. Tino's around. I think Trevor just told me today he's going to be running. I don't think he's going to be running the boat in a full-time capacity. I think he's going to be more like probably relief, but he's going to be on the boat this year.
How old is Tino? Is he my age?
Tino
he's not
is
that old. He's like 60?
Tino is prehistoric. No, he's Tino is like he's 60-ish.
Probably, right?
He's about 60.
He's
something like
about
that.
5 years younger than me.
63, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, so he's getting,
Probably watching right now.
I know, you bastards.
I don't know. He's old. He's lost his hair and his mind. You shave that.
I do, but it's just like gone too. It's gone, man.
Well, kudos. At least you didn't fight it.
I had like one piece of my hair that flourished, and then I'd wrap it around, and the wind would blow. And
Comb it over.
Looks stupid. Yeah. So I remember I had it shaved off once, and my wife Ruth, I go, "What do you think?" And she goes, "Oh my God, that is awful."
Yeah.
And then finally she got used to it.
Don't fight it.
Yeah, it's way better. Let me tell you.
I don't even fight it anymore. The grays.
What's up with your hair? You're good, aren't you?
I got mine.
You want to take that off and show everybody?
It's a mess right now. I'm getting a haircut. I've been keeping it very short, but it's just gray. It gets grayer and grayer by the day.
Oh my God, I know. I dye my beard.
I would say probably in the next 5 years I'll be pretty much gray.
Is it this business that does it, or just age, or what is it, man?
Having employees.
Oh my God, I know. It'd drive you crazy, huh? And you've got employees not only on the boats, but at the landing, and you got to deal with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we have all kinds of stuff to deal with. Mike, like I said, Mike carries the torch up here for us for the most part, but
Mike is such a good guy, man. I mean, he does such a great job. He's so even-tempered. I mean, maybe there's times when he's screaming and yelling, but I've never seen it.
Mike's great. We like Mike most of the time.
Most of the time, I like it. All right, Isaac says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Wild Willie. First response is hard on a boat. I was on a boat just inside Mexican waters, and a friend had a heart attack. They now called the trip Papa John trip." So, yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff that goes down, and it's freaking scary. I was running a commercial boat out of Redondo, and a guy had a heart attack.
Oh yeah,
and we had him airlifted off the freaking boat.
There's so many different stories I could tell you, ones that I either know about or have been involved in firsthand. It's just, I try to forget about that stuff.
I know. I mean, of course, the most remarkable one is what really kicked this podcast off is the little Mark story, and Paul, right?
Yeah.
And that whole thing happened just as an accident. I mean, it was kind of a throwaway question. I said, "Have you ever rescued anybody?" And then Mark answered, and then this guy.
That was a great show, and they have a friendship now that I know has gone on to this day. I know he still talks to her, so
me too.
That's really cool.
She's very interested in doing a book now on that, and Desiree,
it's a pretty remarkable story, really, like of survival and just the whole thing. I'm sure she probably doesn't like telling it all the time, but yeah, it's a unique story, and it created seems like a friendship out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's there's been people have fallen over the side of these boats at night, gone missing, whatever, heart attacks, you name it. I mean, I've seen accidents of all shapes and sizes, and like I said, I try to file those away and close the cabinet.
I'm totally amazed that there's not more like hooks and stuff.
I can't even tell you how many hooks I've pulled out of people.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to tell you. My neighbor got hooked. He owns one of the companies here in the harbor. He lives down the street from me, and he called me up one night, quite a few years ago, but he's like, "Jeff, I was fooling around with my tackle in the garage, and my son hooked me or something. He's got this hook clear through his finger." He goes, "Can I come down to your house, man? Can you help me out?" I said, "Yeah, man, come on over." Give him a shot of whiskey, and have him sit down, pull a hook out of his hand in my house. I've pulled so many hooks out. I mean, literally dozens.
Yeah.
It's not cool. It's not fun, but
you know how to do it, right?
Part of the job.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Hey, Isaac just threw us a $20 bill, man. Thank you very much, Isaac. We really appreciate that. We can get a pizza tonight, Jeff. You and I. Isaac says, race motor building last I heard. That's about Tommy Lee, I'm guessing. Old school Redondo special. Were you on the Redondo special?
Yeah, I ran it for years.
Yeah, you did, right?
Yeah.
Was I fishing with you on there? I must have been, right?
I think the kids are around, yeah.
Yeah,
that's around the time I owned the Betty G. I ran the boat from like...
That's right, Betty G, Redondo
90... I don't say like late 98, 99 into about 2004 is when I went to Alaska. I guided in Alaska in 04. That's when I left the specials.
How'd you like running the Redondo special?
I loved running that boat.
That boat is bitchin', isn't it? That's where I got my start.
It's old school.
Ditmar Donaldson Hall, right?
Old school. I mean, honestly, like if you can fish some of this local stuff, it really sets you up for success to do bigger things.
Why?
Because like running that boat, I mean, it was. I didn't even have a sonar, man. We didn't have plotters. It was just a little GPS. You had an up and down meter. It was a single screw boat. I mean, you had to really learn how to fish conditions, like know how to set the boat up. I mean, we're fishing, stones. Some of them that are probably not much bigger than this room or this table.
Right.
And we're anchoring on them, and it makes you a better fisherman.
Yeah, definitely.
I think if you can run. And learning on the local boats, at least that's my humble opinion.
I totally agree, and I also think that it makes you a better fisherman as an angler to go through that half-day thing where you're continuously choosing a hot bait.
Yep.
You're continuously casting.
Yep.
Whereas you go on an albacore trip, you may choose a bait 3 times in a 24-hour period.
Sure.
On a half-day boat, you're learning how to.
I mean, this fishery, this fishing in general, this West Coast. Southern California fishing has changed so much just even in my career. Like, it's the same, but it's different. Like, a lot of the things that I remember doing as a deckhand and the way we used to fish, obviously the tackle has changed. We went from, like, single-speed reels and monofilament to braided line and 2-speed reels, which was, for me, was a hard transition because I was so used to fishing a certain way. But you've had the tackle has changed. The patterns of fish have changed. This, like, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain. I've just seen it my whole life. I've seen so much of it change. Like, the calico bass fishing is different. The local fishing in particular is entirely different than it was.
How so?
Well, it's just, I mean, you used to set your watch to Mother's Day. We were catching barracuda.
Right.
And
they'd last for a while.
You'd chase bird schools around, and then it would settle in on the horseshoe or the local spots, and we'd catch them on the anchor, and then we'd have sand bass to go with it, and like that just doesn't happen anymore, man. Like the sand bass are on the spots. Like half of these young kids that work on these boats, I don't think they've even seen that.
Yeah.
Like,
guaranteed.
Catching 400 or 500 sand bass on a single half day trip.
Right.
It just doesn't.
Whaling on the gar.
Maybe I hope it's a cycle, but I don't know. I mean, we can only assume. But there's that, and then like the bluefin, we never saw this. We never saw this bluefin like this. We saw bluefin, and we caught some bluefin,
but
we weren't catching them like this, and we sure as shit weren't fishing them all night long.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I know that. As a deckhand, we just see a lot of things are different. A lot of things are very different, and.
In some ways they're better.
Some
and in some ways they're
for the
worse.
better.
Yeah.
Some not so much.
Right.
I'm pretty torn on that. I don't know. Like the bluefin fishery is fantastic.
Right.
And our ability to catch them. It's hard on the crews. This implication that we're fishing 24 hours a day now.
Brutal.
Is it's pretty much implied when you set foot on a boat that we're going to be fishing all day, all night.
Freaking brutal.
And it's really tough on the crews. I mean, it's only so many hours in a day. You got to sleep.
You used to be able to sleep once
You got to
in a
sleep
while.
at some point, so you better have 2 operators that are capable of running a boat.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a lot of changes. Tackle, etc.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk that, all the bluefin we did see back in the day, and now we'd be catching them in the middle of the night on a 12-ounce sinker with a hook on it.
Thanks to Roy Rose and the Roy Polaris. That's crazy, man.
But like the best jig there is now is just a straight up lead sinker with a hook.
Yeah, exactly. I remember, man, fishing albacore out of San Diego as a crew member when those fish were at 30 miles. That was the freaking worst nightmare you could have because you're fishing till 5 o'clock in the evening. Yeah. You're getting no sleep. And now this is even worse.
I mean, there's another thing. Like the spring boats, or I should say the springtime, the overnight boats would go to like fish coronados or, go fish yellowtailed coronados, maybe catch, calico bass, sea bass, whatever. Nobody does that anymore. Like,
I know.
The 3/4 guys have pushed the boundaries so far. I mean, like if you look at like what Booger does or Taro on the Liberty or even John on the Pursuit, like these guys, they go hard. They fish. They're fishing where we're fishing.
I know.
So it's the game has changed for sure.
It's freaking crazy. Scott Bugert says he loves Tino's jokes. Tino's quite a joker. Mondo Redondo, when's the yellowtail going to get with it at San Clemente Island? Jeff, look into your crystal ball. When's it going to bite?
I would say
When the water warms,
whenever
when
this
the water hits 60?
Just keep an eye out.
Yeah.
These guys are there. They'll be there every weekend.
Man, we had a good signal on yellows down at Collinette. I mean, a couple guys went in there a month ago, the Supreme and the Liberty, and they frickin' on the yo-yo iron killed them. And then Booger, on the San Diego was getting, 18, 25 yellows a day, yo-yo iron, and then it just kind of dried up. But springtime, that's not unusual to see it like, oh man, here it goes, and then it backs off. And then,
April is an egregious month in this business. This is the worst month in the calendar for weather. I don't really ever remember catching a whole lot in April. Just let the weather patterns stabilize.
Right.
When this water warms, the Freedom's going to be at the island. Sean's running tonight. The Thunderbird will be out. Somebody's going to turn in something. In the next few weekends. It's early. It's still. I know everybody's gung-ho right now, but it's still early.
Tons of people watching. They're loving you, Jeff. A lot of great comments. Mondo Redondo, what's Jeff's favorite surface iron for yellows?
Mint
You're
Tatty
looking back
45.
there, huh?
Yep, that mint color Tatty 45, bar none.
And has that been your favorite one for years?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and for whatever reason, that solid mint color jig here, especially at San Clemente and our local islands, and I've never been big on, like, color as much as I have been, like, the action of the jig.
Do you think color
versus
matters?
Color, but that mint jig works.
It does.
I don't care what anybody says. Like, it works.
If that's what you're
I've caught more yellows on that jig than anything else.
All right, cool. Ado says, ask Jeff why I call him Bobby D. Is that something you can share with everybody? Or
I don't even. I'm not even sure.
Ask Jeff why I call him Bob D.
Oh, Addie. Oh, okay. That's.
Do we want to hear that? I do now.
I don't know why she calls me that. That's not.
You're gonna have to tell us why.
That's the little girl that lives in my house.
Oh, really? Perfect. Steve Bermudez, dying on a boat doing what you love is not that bad. You got to go sometime. It's just hard on the crew. Yeah, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, I don't. Without having his permission to really talk about this, I don't want to say too much. But I know, Jeff Markland's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I know, I'm not going to get into any details. That's his story to tell, not mine. But I know he had an episode one morning where they had to do CPR on a guy for a while.
And they lost him.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not a good. It's got to weigh on you a bit.
Jeff Markland runs the Thunderbird out of Davies Locker. Yeah, you guys work very closely together. And I wouldn't call you competitors, right? I mean, in some sense, I guess you are, but not really, right?
I mean, we're competitors just by the simple fact that
you want to do better.
Well, yeah,
which is normal.
But we help each other out so much that it's
much.
It's like more on the water. It's not like, oh, we're gonna, we're catching them over here. Let's don't tell Jeff. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if we're gonna catch. Or I'd rather sit somewhere and we're all catching them together. You know what I mean? That's normally a lot of times how it works out, anyways. But no, yeah, Jeff's a good. All the business and boat nonsense aside, Jeff's a personal friend of mine.
Yeah,
we've developed a good friendship. His dad just recently passed away.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was very sorry to hear that.
So, he's a good dude.
I
like Jeff a lot. Yeah. So I mean, we help each other out, and we talk all the time.
You know what I like about him, and I've had him on the podcast with you. I've never fished with him. I'm not that close to him.
He's a character.
But what I see, he's very honest. Like, he'll say,
"Oh, he's honest.
This sucks out here," or "This is good," or
he'll tell you.
He's not freaking hiding anything.
He's pretty unfiltered.
Yeah, he is, right?
And he's funny though, and I think
hilarious.
That's what's really built a lot of his clientele base is just his character,
his humor, and his honesty.
He tells it like it is. He's an honest guy. He fishes hard. He's a great fisherman, and he's funny. It's his sense of humor is a little more on the dry side, which I can appreciate. But I
like that too.
I like it, and obviously a lot of other people do as well.
The few times that last year we were on the Amigo, and Mark Paisano Jr. he called us in on a huge big jag of Dorado that we got well on, and then you guys when we were fishing bluefin in that really crappy weather off Clemente, you were communicating with him back and forth. You guys were helping one another. So, super good guy.
That was a great trip. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, the
That
trip
wasn't a very fun weather day.
No, I mean, I remember that because I told the boys, we're totally screwed. We're not catching crap on this trip. You were running the boat. And then you walked over to me and you said, hey, the Independent's at $1.75 on the yellows on Cortez. And I go, can we make that? And you go, we're sure as hell going to try.
We did.
And we did.
We kicked the shit out of them.
We did.
That was
We
good
had a
fishing.
great freaking trip.
Yeah, and then we topped it off with bluefin. But God,
Limits of bluefin.
that ride home, we paid for it. That was horrible.
But we smeared the yellows, big giant yellows on Cortez, long range kind of yo-yo iron. I threw one on in the bow, remember?
Yeah,
I had one on the 100-pound
I
and
do
bounced
remember
one.
that.
And then we went to Clemente. We had a lovely night in Pyramid Cove.
We did.
And then we poked our nose out. I remember I was up early and I go, oh my God, this sucks.
We got them.
We limited out.
We got them.
Yeah.
That was good fishing.
That was fun.
That was a great trip.
That was
minus the weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even with the weather, though. I mean,
Maybe we could do that again this year.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
I'm all
Let's
excited
do
about that. That's for sure.
You've got a trip in San Diego too with us, yeah?
I think so, right?
Yeah,
Don't I?
I'm pretty sure you do, yeah.
Yeah, we got to figure that out
Yeah.
so I can start marketing that. Do you know a guy named Daniel from Redondo Sportfishing? I think his nickname is Sarge.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he said I work with Jeff.
He did.
On the Redondo Special, I
He
think,
did.
right?
Yeah.
I've known him for 100 years too.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time. Yes.
Albert Ponce says, good evening, fellas. Albert's a great guy. I love him. Ernie Montano. Do you know Ernie?
I do know Ernie.
Ernie's
Hello, Ernie.
Ernie's a great guy. Thanks, Jeff and Phil, for the great dialogue on the great support of fishing. Ernie's a great guy, isn't he?
Ernie's awesome, and thank you, Ernie, for all your help that you've given us the last couple of years on the boats. Ernie has helped us out a lot with some things on the boat, with some materials, and with Dodger tickets too.
Oh, right. Yeah, I got to get some of those from him someday. Ernie is always helping me with regard to like how the mic sounds and how this sounds, and he's been a huge help and a huge supporter. Ernie, thank you so much. It's great to see you. Who the cook on the Amigo? Greg, Scott Bucher wants to know. It's Jason. Jason is the cook on the Amigo. I don't know if you know that or not.
He started with us this year. Sounds like he's doing a fantastic job. And then we have George, and I can't speak highly enough of George. Anybody who's fished with us who knows George, I don't even have to say anything else.
I know. I've been there with George. He's great.
George is the best.
Yes.
The best.
He's so good with the people. He's an excellent cook.
His food is awesome. His
and even the
personality's
presentation.
Awesome. George, I can't speak highly
I
enough.
love George, yeah.
I'm very fortunate to have him.
And then Mark came to me and said, man, I'm looking for a cook on the Amigo. And I said, well, Jason, I mean, you might, because I used to go
I haven't been on the boat with him, but from what everybody's telling me, he's doing a great job.
He's good, man. He's a great guy. He loves to fish. He's an exceptional cook. So, I mean.
Good. That's what we want.
That's like really important. The food on a trip and a galley cook
especially on a slow day, can make or break you.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
And a galley cook that's a nice guy.
Yep.
We've all been on boats where the galley cook is like kind of an a-hole, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, yes. It's a tough job. Cook's got a tough job.
Oh, I know.
Cook's got a tough job, but you can always wake up with a smile.
Yeah, but it is tough, man, because it's just nonstop, right?
It's nonstop. Well,
day
there's prep.
long.
You're up. You're the first guy up usually. There's prep. Everybody wants what they want right away, and it is what it is.
There was a galley.
And there's going to be some sticker shock this year because obviously the price of outfitting these boats in this galley has gone up. If anybody's gone out to the store, it's
You mean burgers are going to cost more?
Everything's expensive right now.
I
Even
know.
to buy eggs, it's expensive.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
know.
It's really pricey to do business right now.
You freaking go into a fast food joint now? I got off the Orange County Fair bartending one night. I usually don't eat fast food, but I was going through a Carl's Jr. and I go, yeah, I'll get a big Carl. I was starving. I'll take a big Carl lettuce wrap because I'm keto. Freaking $10.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like small,
just to go out for a casual lunch dinner right now,
$100.
Oh, it's $100.
Yeah,
$100 is the new $100 bill is the new 20.
I know.
And it, like I said, I think what's interesting to me is I think people get a little bit of sticker shock on the boat for whatever reason.
More so than they.
But they'll happily go to a Dodger game and pay $16 for a beer.
Yeah.
But obviously, without even saying it, fuel's our biggest overhead. So the last year or two, we've had a fuel surcharge. And that is to directly offset the cost of fuel that the price of these boats were based around, you know. And then obviously with the inflation, like all you got to do is walk out of your house to see it. You go to the gas pump, you go to the grocery store, you go to the, you know, wherever, the restaurant, local restaurant, you see it. So we're not, you know, the boat yards charge us more. Labor is more, fuel is more. Everything is more. It's more, and you know, and it just drives obviously profit margins down. And if we're not profitable, then we cease
What's
to
the
exist.
use, right?
It has to be maintained as a profitable business, or we're out of business. So, I'm saying, prepare yourselves. We're not exempt from it.
Yeah, right. Nobody is. All right. Jamie Argent says, "Good evening, everybody. Jeff is back from 540 Slingers. If Jeff can get away from the boat work, the club is meeting up this Sunday morning to tune up the jig sticks and surface irons at Long Beach Marine Stadium. We have plenty of coffee and donuts." I've been to that. Hey, Jeff, I'm going to try to make that. Saturday, we're going to be at Santa Ana River Lakes, but the next day I'll try to be there myself. I don't know if you have time to do that, but it's pretty fun, actually.
I am going to be finishing this boat up this week.
I know.
I need this thing to be ready for the following weekend. So, yeah.
But anybody out there listening, if you'd like to go, Jeff Yeomans and the guys from the 540 Slingers Club would love to have you there. It's going to be the 16th of April, Marine Stadium, Long Beach at 8 a.m., I think it is. And it's always a good time. I think Mike Morrison is going to be there. He was there the last time I was there, so it's always a really good time. So as we look ahead to the season this year, do you think that it's going to be another banner season? Do you have any opinion? Or do you just say, hey, how the hell should I know?
Whatever shows up, we're going to kick the shit out of it. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
We're just going to, one day at a time, roll the punches. Hopefully it's albacore, whatever it is.
You just said the A word.
I said hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but whatever it is, we'll give it 100.
I'm hearing that, but I'm
Don't
the
even
one.
talk about it.
I'm the one who's saying
don't curse it.
You know, Mark Paisano Jr. the other day, I go, hey, Mark, you got any dope for me? You know, anything I can, use?
Something.
And he's like, not really. You know as much as I know. And but we're hoping for albacore this year. And I go,
we would love to see it. We would love to see it. I mean, in a perfect world, I would like to see sea bass in the spring and roll into albacore. A nice long season of albacore.
So address the people out there who say to me so many times, why on earth would you want to catch 20 to 30 pound albacore, 15 to 30 pound albacore, instead of catching these mammoth bluefin tuna we have? Why would you want to do that?
Well, I could tell you a bunch of reasons why. Because simply put, under normal circumstances, albacore are very user-friendly. Meaning they travel in schools and they like to bite the troll. They don't just kick the shit out of everybody on the boat and leave broken rods and bodies laying behind, right? Like all this big bluefin, yeah, it's cool to catch the fish of a lifetime, but you're usually not. I don't know how to say it from an operator's perspective. Sometimes they're a lot of work. They're a lot of work from not only getting them to bite, but getting them on the boat, and dealing with them on the boat. Your average guy has a hard time handling them.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're in the catch and fish business.
Yes.
We like to see bent rods and smiling faces, right? So, would I like to have a 100 fish stop on albacore or have 2 big bluefin? I'll take the albacore.
Absolutely, right?
I'll take it every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things bite nails, man. They're fun to catch.
We like it.
Those freaking wings out.
Yep.
Isn't that a bitchin' sight?
Yep.
For people who've never seen that. It looks like a bird or
It's
something,
been a
right?
long time since I've seen them bite really good, but yes.
Me too. Jamie Argent, I may be in San Pedro Saturday night. Sunday, I'll stay in touch. C2 Sanctuary. Jesus, Jeff, we got a ton of people watching the show. I need to go to that. I just got my first surface iron set up at the Bart Hall show. So he's talking about the jig you like to throw. 540 Slingers, Joey Shamuzo and Brian Wynn will be at the casting meetup this Sunday as well. That's great. Those guys will be there. In fact, I think, yeah, I'm meeting Brian tomorrow for lunch.
There's your tatty guy.
Yeah,
right?
right? Yeah, he's a super cool guy. Definitely. Let's see. Awesome. I live down the street from Marine Station. I'll be there. See Mondo Redondo, albacore, and sand bass. Operators' dreams come true, right? Freaking sand bass and
Sand bass.
barracuda, baby.
That's what half-day fishing was all about, man.
So when you were-
Bonita, barracuda, and sand bass.
When you were on the Redondo Special, were you going up north to El Segundo and catching those giant sand bass, or is that back in the late
Our
70s?
kind of our pattern back then was most of the time we would fish north in the mornings and then south in the afternoons. Everybody likes fishing the hill. Very rarely did you get like the right conditions before noon at the hill. Like most of the times you'd go over to Rocky Point, that whole area along the coast. You just would have like some funky out to sea condition. Then you go back in the afternoon, it'd be all shaped up and like going down the beach, and you'd have more proper condition to catch bass. So we would like I used to like to go up and fish the sand bass or the barracuda or fish the stones up north in the mornings, and then we'd go south in the afternoons. Was our general routine.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, those are fun days. I remember, man, when I was a kid, we'd catch some big sand bass up there.
That's some great regulars on that boat. Now a lot of them are dead and gone now, unfortunately.
Was Del Ingram still fishing
Del
with you?
Ingram.
He was there?
Howard Tanaka.
Yeah.
We had Gary from Urkeley's owned Urkeley's bar in Manhattan Beach. I mean, there was a whole slew of them. I think most of them are gone.
It's crazy, right?
Most of them are gone. Yeah.
Well, when I was on the Redondo Special, there was this group of guys who would come out. Well, I can't even remember all of them, but they just freaking use fishing as an excuse to play poker.
Oh yeah,
And they'd be in the galley playing poker, man, going at it. And then once in a while, like if the yellow's bid or something, they'd come out for a little bit. But
I kind of miss those days. Like we'd probably pull up to the pier in the morning, and the guys would be sitting out there at the coffee shop having their coffee on, sitting outside of the pier at Polly's.
Yeah.
And they, I'd chit chat with them in the morning, check the reservations, go over, fire the boat up. That was good times.
No, totally.
Seemed like a little more carefree.
I know. Nowadays, it's not as carefree, is it?
It's not quite as carefree.
I know. Angelos, hey, don't act like we don't get we get a refund if we don't catch fish. Hit the like, guys, says Jamie. Definitely hit that like. Jeff will break into tears if we don't get up to 100 likes here. The DTG guy. So you want to catch a turd roller? Yeah, I love turd rollers. Don't you? Why do they call them that?
Bought and paid for a lot of things.
Oh my God, I know. They're so cool. They're easy to catch and
friendly fish.
Yeah, exactly. And good to eat.
You take a beginner out, tie him up a dropper loop, and give him an anchovy, drop him down on the bottom, and then catch a nice bass. What's not to like?
Exactly. Carlos says red 8 buoy.
Yep. Red 8 buoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Calico bass fishing.
Seed to sanctuary. I wonder if we could make a hatchery for sand bass to release them back into the Huntington Flats. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. It seemed like they're pretty hardy fish. I don't know. I don't know what happened to those things. I don't know if it's, like I said, if it's a cycle, if we overfished them. I don't know if it's the water quality. I just don't know.
I don't either.
I wish I did know. I didn't used to think that, really honestly, that they migrated up from Mexican waters, but I think it's becoming more and more evident that they did or do.
Yeah. And the Mexican guys used to trap down there. And
I think they are. But
yeah.
I was never of the frame of mind that that's where they were coming from. I used to think that they kind of just came off of the surrounding areas and maybe out of the deep water and the spots and just kind of congregated to spawn, which maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Right.
I really don't know, but I think it's becoming more evident as time goes on. They
might be a
probably
cycle,
did come
man.
up the coast.
Yeah.
And they're getting stopped.
Hopefully it's a cycle.
I hope so too.
Yeah, I would love to see that back. Dan Smith says albacore look like fighter jets, and man, can they run fast straight down. Man, oh man, miss them. They do, man. They're so friggin'. I love
They'll
that.
be back. They'll be back.
Yeah, they're gonna be here this year, man.
I hope so.
Arnie Fishing Ensenada. Great guy. He runs a panga out of Ensenada down there. Hello, Philip. The water is very cold down here. I hope this week it gets warmer, and he's hoping for that. Arnie, Are you eating your palomitas tonight? Palomita, you know what palomitas are?
I don't.
Popcorn.
Oh,
He
nice.
says he has popcorn during the show and watches it
Oh,
from down there in
no.
Ensenada. Great source of mine. Arnie Man on Facebook. You want to go jump on a ponga in Ensenada? He's your guy. He's a fantastic guy. It's nice to have those Mexican pongeros. I communicate with a lot of those guys up and down the coast, and they tune me up, man. I hear some stuff that I feel like I'm on the cutting edge sometimes
Sure.
because they're out there all the time, and they're very good fishermen, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
C2 Sanctuary, probably overfished, and he thinks that the squid wiped the sand bass out. Another theory, right?
Don't know. Could be.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Mussel Farm yellows? Acme wants to know. What is with that? Wasn't there a mussel farm out here at one time?
There is,
Is it still there?
as far as I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were fish all over it, right?
There was, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't stay too in tune with this local stuff, but yeah, they do bite on there. Sure.
Do you like local fishing or offshore fishing better? Or do you like them both?
I like them both. I loved local fishing when I was running local boats. I don't know if I could handle it anymore, but
Why? Too many private guys?
I've become, I don't know. I'm so I've become so like used to and accustomed to dealing with my charter groups. I just love the more like the personal setting of charter fishing.
Yeah.
It's just I have so many groups at this point that I've become really good friends with and close with, that I just enjoy that environment so much better. Like, I know the guys on the boat. We know
What to
we
expect
work
from one another.
Yeah, we know what to expect from one another. It's where my heart is. I just enjoy
That charter thing.
I enjoy the charter thing.
Yeah, I mean, once you get to know, like, when Mark took over, you were running the boat, Amigo, and then Mark took over. He was feeling me out at first, and then I would like see him like, "Hey, I'm sorry that I go, hey, dude, don't worry about it. You can't make the fish, but I'm good. We're having a great time. I see how hard you're working. That's all that I care about."
Yeah,
and then
and
once you get that down,
it's a different vibe, You get this, like, sometimes you get on some of these trips, like open party trips. These guys get really like, they get kind of wound up about things. It takes its toll on you after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open party guys?
Well, not open party guys, but just
some guys
that guy
that are rude, or
that.
You mean the guy you hear outside the wheelhouse window that's like, "What the hell's this guy doing?"
That guy.
Kind of thing.
That guy.
I know.
The guy that can't quite understand that we're fishing and not catching always.
Working our asses off, and sometimes it doesn't happen, right?
Sometimes it doesn't happen.
Did the Pride leave already?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't hear anybody out there anymore. So they've been doing okay with the bigger halibut and that kind of thing.
Sean's been.
He's a pretty hard fisherman, isn't he?
Sean goes hard, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Scott Bucher, will the boat lines come back? Yeah, I'm sure.
Why not?
I don't know. Yeah, well, why not, right?
Get something to catch.
Yeah, exactly. Mondo Redondo, giant squid and seiners fishing for pin bait killed the sandies. Yeah, they wipe out the bait in Ensenada now. It's hard to get any decent bait down there because all the bait they get, they feed the bluefin pins with. That's a big bone of contention with the guys down there, I can tell you that. Jamie Argent, Arnie is the man. Hope to catch you soon, Arnie. Arnie's down in Ensenada. Yellowtail 69, Wasabi. Just want to thank Jeff for letting my sons, Kent and Kai Pinhead, on the Redondo special. You remember those guys?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
They're all grown up now.
Are they?
Yeah. God, I can't remember when I saw them a couple years ago, but yeah, I remember them very well.
And I can, what he is saying, I can say to you too with my kids. I felt like that was a big part of their growing up, being out there, hard working. Even though Philip got in a fist fight on
Well,
the trip
like growing up on a boat, I think it's like anything else. If it's something that you're into and you like doing it, like you look up to certain guys on the boat, right? Like you want to emulate the guy that, like, I'm going to be like that guy. Like, whether it's the all-star deckhand that you were a pinhead for.
Or the captain, or...
Sorry. Whether it's the deckhand that you want, that trained you, that you want to be like, or the guy running the boat, or the guy that trained you, whatever the case. You want to. It teaches you that work ethic, and you want to emulate that guy and be. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge part of it. I know my kids look up to you to this day. They still do because their work ethic, my work ethic, comes from this industry.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be a product of this industry and not understand the value of getting up early and going full rack till you collapse.
Well, and it's important that I think, especially when you're young and you're impressionable, you're around people that are teaching you the right thing, and guys that have a way of teaching things like Sam Patella is a good friend of mine, and Brian Kiyahara. Like those guys, when they were together, they've kicked out so much product as far as like quality guys that are either off running boats now or in the industry or own their own boats. Like everybody that's come from them are quality guys, and those are the guys you learn from. These are the guys you're around the right people, you learn the right things, and you move on. If you're around the wrong people, then you go down the wrong path. Like anything in life, if you hang out with 4 broke guys, you're probably going to be the 5th broke guy. You hang out with 4 successful guys, you're probably going to be successful.
Yeah, that's good advice to everybody. Surround yourself with people who are motivated and good people, positivity, right?
Yep.
That's all good stuff. Wild Willie, any thoughts about doing a day trip for the kids? 1 adult ticket and the kids fish for free.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
For the money?
Probably, I would say.
I think there's something like that going on right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, check with the office.
Okay, yeah, check with the office. Wild Willie.
I'm pretty sure there's something like that going on right now.
Alejandro Cota says, que viva mi Ensenada. He loves Ensenada, and so do I. I love that place. Sarkis, there is always that guy on the boat. That's true, right?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
That's why I like my charters.
Yeah, exactly. Cue ball, it turns into combat fishing. What is combat fishing for somebody who doesn't know? Combat fishing?
Combat fishing is the days of having 75 or 80 people on the boat and you're trying to fish by number. Remember those days? I don't think too many guys do that anymore, but that was,
brutal, right?
Not a fan.
I decked on the Searcher and we had 90-something people on there fishing albacore.
Well, when they made all these overnight boats, they had 70, a lot of these boats, the Freedom, the Tornado, they had 75 people accommodations.
Yeah.
Can you imagine fishing? I mean, people complain now when there's 30 people on
I
boat. Can you imagine
know.
having 72 people on an overnight trip?
Not only imagine it, I did it, man.
Yeah.
It was like brutal.
No.
You couldn't even like.
Those days are gone.
Yeah, and in some way, I think it's good, but in the other way, it limits the amount of people that participate in the sport. Kind of, maybe not. Maybe the experience is way better with
You're getting a better quality experience.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go out, if you're like, imagine if you're a first timer and you go out and you're just pissed
screwed.
off, and your whole experience
Yeah.
is just not good. You're not going to be in any
You're
hurry
never
to come
coming back, right?
Yeah, no, those days are gone forever.
Yeah, that's true. Alejandro Cota says, "God bless America." We're all about that. How did the recent Grunion run go? The Tops wants to know. It went great, man. I'm right on the beach, so I'm like, should I go out and I'm freaking tired, man. It gets to be 10 o'clock at night. I'm done. I'm going to bed. So I woke up at 11:30 at night to take a leak.
Sure.
And I go, well, what the hell? And I get freaking Grunion everywhere. So it's always pitching. I love that kind of thing. So it went really good. My dad caught his first bluefin tuna on the Amigo. Scott Buchert came out. I think you ran that trip.
I did.
With Scott's dad?
I don't know if I was on there with Scott's dad or not.
I think you were.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you
caught his first bluefin on there with us.
Yeah.
Or with
Scott.
Wiggy.
No. I think it was with you because Scott's dad.
I can't tell you how many people have told me, "Oh, yeah, I used to fish that boat with Wigman, and I caught my first this or my first that."
Yeah, no, it was with you. I remember Greg came out, and that's Scott's dad, and we had just a phenomenal trip. I think it was with you. It wasn't Mark Jr. It wasn't Mark Jr. It was with you. Sean Bevan. I owe my work ethic to sport fishing and working for Jeff on the special years ago. Long time and glad to see you're doing well and thriving. You remember that guy, Sean?
I do remember
Bevan.
Sean. I
Really?
haven't seen him in many years, but yeah, I do remember Sean.
Can you talk about him a little bit? He's out there listening to you right now.
Yeah, I remember Sean. He worked with me on the Spitfire. I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know Sean.
Do you notice there's a common denominator here tonight, whether it's me or the guy that thanked you for his kids that were with you, or whether it's Sean out there? You've affected a lot of people's lives. It's not just about catching fish, it's about having an impact on people's lives. Do you
Yeah.
realize that?
That's an interesting thing we do.
Yeah.
I try to be positive, obviously, I've given up on the trying to make everybody happy or everybody like you thing. Like it's at some point you just got to come to terms with the fact that just doesn't exist.
Right.
It's not a perfect world. Like there's just going to be those people that aren't going to like you, aren't going to like something about you. But we impact all kinds of people. You show them a good time, and maybe he catches his personal best, this or that, and they're talking about you at the dinner table 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly. How amazing is that?
And I try, as far as like people that have worked for me or that I've had the opportunity to work with, I try my best to have a positive impact with people.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's happening. Yellowtail 69 Wasabi, my sons are hardworking and drug-free. Miss you, Jeff. Edwin.
Nice. Thank you, Edwin.
David Alcanzar, I can't imagine fly line patty hopping for yellowtail with 70 people on a boat. Yeah, you got to imagine it, David, because we used to do it, man. I remember being on the Qualifier 105 fishing day trips. You have 100 freaking people on the boat. 100. Oh my God, that was brutal.
I've done it with
fishing
90.
Albies.
I've done it with 90.
On local boats or what? Yeah, I remember that too.
Didn't like it.
Redondo Special was something like 70 people or like 60.
I think we carried, I can't remember, 60 or
69,
65,
68, something like that, right?
Small Ditmar,
Yeah.
out of stern.
God,
Yeah.
it's just brutal. I mean, to get up to about a gaff of fish or whatever, it was a hassle, right?
Saturday morning, full boat, yeah.
Yeah, those were fun times, but you're right, David. It was really crazy. Cue ball, it's happening with 25 to 30 people on the boat. Yeah, it's way better, right?
I think people, in this day and age, I think people would rather pay a little bit more and go with less.
Yeah.
It just, fishing's always going to be fishing, but it definitely gives you more opportunity at the rail.
Definitely. There's a ton of people watching, Jeff. They're loving you. Tons of likes. Hit that like button, everybody. We appreciate it. The Apollo, if we want to book the Apollo, how do we do it? What do we call? What do we do? Do we go to the website?
You can go to the website, apollocharters.com. Again, if you click the calendar tab, you can actually see the dates that are taken and the ones that are available. All of our phone numbers are on there. I don't know them offhand. I can tell you what they are if you give me 2 seconds.
Sure. We'll
but
give
you
2
can
seconds.
call Lori, and that is, I should know all this, but I don't. So our phone number direct to Lori is area code 619-761-0882.
Call Lori right now and tell her you're watching Jeff on Friedman Adventures.
But you can definitely see what dates are available and which ones aren't. There are a few San Diego dates left, not a whole lot. There's, I think, a couple towards the end of October and maybe some random one days scattered out the rest of the months. But we do have some May openings, and we do have a few open parties up, multi-days up here in May that have some room.
And you're out of Seaforth. Parking is great.
We're out of Seaforth Sportfishing from July through November. And, yeah, great parking, great landing. Those guys have treated me really well down there. Jeff Yamati and his dad have treated me very well. And the boat will be here at 22nd Street the rest of the year.
All right. One guy says our mics are cutting in and out. One guy says our mics are fantastic. So I don't know what to say. You look good there. Well, we'll try to. I don't know what to do there, Carlos. We'll keep watching it. Daniel Sart says 70 people. I've been there. Turbo T2. Good evening, Phil, Captain, and the Friedman Adventures family. Aaron Arguelles. Wow, 160 people fishing. Was it a constant tangle? Pretty much, man. Right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. And you got to remember that was with on the search it was different, but like the Redondo Special was 2 deckhands. The first deck, the second deck, and the captain.
Yep.
And 70 people.
And if you're lucky, you got a galley cook that can come out and help you out.
Exactly. Brutal. Joe Valerio, my introduction to sport fishing was the summer of 2019. and he deleted his comment there. So tell us a little bit about the Apollo in terms of her capabilities. I mean, what can we expect? You've covered a little bit, but the staterooms and the bunks
so
and everything.
it's 65-foot charter boat. It's aluminum. And it's honestly, if you were to design a charter boat today, I don't really know what you would do too much. What I would do too much differently. So it's got a spacious galley. The bathrooms are inside, showers. We've got freshwater making capabilities. The boat holds a ton of bait. We have 2 deck tanks, a slammer that we could put about 160 below deck, and then we have 2 fish holds, and we can also turn our slammer into a fish hold. So, it holds plenty of fuel. Obviously, the boat fished Guadalupe a lot, and the unique thing with that boat was the Guadalupe trips were 12 people max, which was kind of a niche thing because, you can't afford to. Most people can't afford to charter the Independence or the Royal Polaris to take a small group to Guadalupe, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of a niche-y thing for the boat, that it was a 12-passenger thing. You go down and fish Guadalupe. Well, that's not
amazing.
That's not in the cards for us now. So we're going to kind of have to reinvent the wheel here a little bit, and we're hoping to book more 2 to like 4 day trips up here in the fall when this bluefin's around and fish that kind of stuff. So myself, Greg Opie-Mako, and Ryan Block will be running the boat. We've got a great crew. We've got some young guys and some senior guys. Jay's still with us. A lot of guys that have fished the boat know Jay Lorenzo. He ran the boat in Puerto Vallarta, and he's still working with us. He's
great guy.
Yeah. So we got a good crew. Lori's handling the books and the phone, so there's somebody to talk to there who's very pleasant. She knows all the ins and outs, so she can kind of help you along if you need guidance booking a charter. And yeah, like I said, we redid the galley this year, so we got new galley equipment, very capable in there. Got an oven, grill, warmers, everything.
Kind of long range
It's
style.
kind of like a mini long range style boat, really.
Yeah.
Like it's set up very long ranges, half staterooms, half bunks. So like I said, if you're the charter master and you want to reserve a stateroom, and you can get a sheet with the bunk layout from the land, and you can just kind of reserve bunks for your people or reserve a stateroom for yourself if you want.
Yeah, perfect.
So, yeah.
Hey, you guys, did you fish Costa Rica on that boat? Or
I did.
Where did you fish? Yeah, Costa Rica, right? How was that? You guys caught all kinds of big,
Miserably hot.
Oh,
Miserably
I
hot.
live there, so I know how it is, man.
The
It's
humidity is off the charts. We had fun. We had a blast. The weather was gorgeous.
You were with Ricky Carbajal.
I was with Ricky. As a group of friends of mine, Chad and a bunch of other guys. So I mean, it was kind of a good time. We went down there partying, really. I mean, we spent some time on the beach, did the trip, spent some more time on the beach, came home. But we caught a lot of mostly bottom fish, a little bit of tuna. You're a little restricted on bait down there because obviously they don't pack the bait like we do here.
Yeah.
But we caught some yellowfin. We caught what else did we catch?
Cubera snappers, it looked like?
Yeah, those rainbow runners, all
Yeah.
kinds of different snappers, Wachinongo. It was really good night fishing a couple nights, like really good on the big Wachis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and other than that, I mean, it was borderline unbearable in the daytime.
You mean the heat?
But yeah, like without air conditioning in the bunk
It's
room,
brutal,
I
I know.
don't think we would have had to go home.
Where were you out of? What part of Costa Rica were you running out of? Los Sueños or Punta Arenas? Or?
Down by Panama.
Oh, you're down in Golfito, like Golfo Dulce. That's where I live, down there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of that harbor where we left from, and I can't think of it. We flew into San Jose,
Yeah.
and we took about a 4 or 5 hour bus ride to
Yeah.
the coast.
Used to be a 6-hour bus ride when I
There's
was
a marina there they put some money into.
Yeah.
Like there's some obviously some U.S. influence there.
Is it Golfito? Or?
Pelagic had a presence there.
Yeah.
There are some really nice yachts. But that's not Manuel Antonio.
Oh, okay.
Manuel
Yeah.
Antonio.
That's a cool place, actually.
Yeah.
Monkeys are come right down to the beach and the
Yeah.
trees and the whole
It was
thing.
bitching. Markland went down there with us.
Oh, he did? He was on that trip?
Yeah, Markland was there. It was fun.
Yeah, that's a cool place.
There's some stories that are going to stay there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to share them with us. No. What happens in Costa Rica stays
Days in Costa Rica. Yeah, that was a good time.
Joe Valerio, my introduction to sport fishing was in 2019 on the Pursuit. $45, Wednesday specials. That was the definition of a cattle boat. Best way to learn, in my opinion. So he got a positive experience out of
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. David Alcanzar says Captain Ryan is the man.
Ryan Block. My Ryan?
Maybe. Yeah. Ryan Block?
Yeah.
I'm guessing, right?
I can only assume. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan's a good dude. I really enjoyed working with him last year. He's well liked, nice guy. He's got some long range experience. Yeah.
Acme says Apollo has always been a battle wagon. Kudos to the captains and crew. They love the Apollo. I love that boat too.
It's a bitchin' boat.
Yeah, no question. When JJ got it, I thought, man, that was such a good fit. Now you've got it.
Yeah, it's only had 4 owners with ourselves included ever since its inception. So.
Cue ball. That boat is legendary. 100% wanted to fish it for years. Jonathan Jones, got to remember to tip the crew. I've seen guys stiff the crew too many times. That's why I give extra. Fish or no fish, it's always, a great time. Follow your fish and tight lines. Any comment on that? Tipping the crew?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, right?
Just remember, everybody works hard. Works hard for their living. Tipping, I don't think tipping is a given, but guys are working hard. They're putting in long hours. They make a good portion of their living off of that.
If the crew's doing, and you're confident that if somebody comes on the Apollo, I know you're confident because I've seen it, they're going to get great service. So if you get that, it's nice to tip.
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean, the same thing goes at a restaurant. I mean, if a crew member walks up and spits in your face,
yeah, screw
tells
it.
you you're an asshole, I don't expect you to tip them, but I don't think you're going to find that here.
I know. When I bartend once in a while at the fair, I'll hand a guy 2 beers and get a $10 tip for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, think about how much harder the guys on the boats work. And
These guys put in some serious hours, man, especially with all this nighttime fishing and springtime too, when they're making bait. Sleep's not forthcoming.
Yeah, exactly. Jamie Argent says he can't wait to go to Costa Rica. He married a Costa Rican girl. I met her. So
yeah, I think it's fun down there. I've been down there 2 years in a row. It's pretty cool.
I lived there for a year back in the late 70s, man. That's when it was still kind of crazy down there,
Sure.
with all kinds of wildlife. And I remember this old priest, when I got down there, went with a priest that I went with that taught me at Bishop Montgomery. And this old priest, man, he goes, hey, you want to come out and have a rum and Coke? I was like 18. Go have a rum and Coke and sit out here? And I go, yeah, sure, Father. We go out there and he's smoking a cigarette. And he goes, watch this. And he throws a cigarette. Freaking big, giant bullfrog eats the cigarette and then spits it out. And he goes, they think they're fireflies, man. It's so much fun.
Oh, yeah. No, there's all kinds of wildlife down there for sure. Pretty cool place.
It is. It's
Pretty cool place.
Have you been anywhere else down that way?
The first time we were down there, we were in the northern part of the state.
Yeah.
Below, what's that, Nicaragua, I guess. So
yeah.
we were in, what now? Well, I got to think of that name.
Guanacaste province?
Yeah. Guanacaste.
Up there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a beautiful place.
It was bitching. It was really windy, but I have to say I think I liked it better up there than I did in the southern part.
Really? Yeah.
I did, personally, but yeah, no, it was cool.
Probably around like Tamarindo, maybe.
We went into Tamarindo. Yeah,
yeah.
No, we went into Tamarindo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
How'd you find the people in Costa Rica? Did you interact with them much?
Yeah, no,
nice people, right?
Really, actually, I kept in touch with one of the kids I met there for a long time.
Really?
We had a WhatsApp together. I gave him a fishing reel, and he I guess it's harder for them to get stuff down there.
No, totally.
I gave him a brand new reel. He was so happy, and then I ended up keeping in touch with him. He wanted to come up here and work. He was like, I want to come, work on a boat. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I had a great experience with them. I think they treat everybody really well, and we were generous with everybody.
Oh, I'm sure you were. Yeah, I know you guys. So, what's the best time of the year if somebody's looking to do a charter? I love the fall months. I love the weather scenario. I love the fishing. I like the fall.
I love
offshore fishing.
I love fall fishing too. I agree with you. Although our falls have changed a little bit. The last few years, it seems like we've had better fishing and better weather, like more into like the November, December stage. Because I always remember October's being offshore breeze, calm weather, maybe a little bit of squid around, fishing the banks. Not so much. The last couple Octobers have been a little bit different. And then like we have this spectacular fishing in November, December. The last trip I ran last year, and I'm sure everybody remembers when that bluefin was up on the bank. It was biting the squid really well. That was made to order fishing. That was custom tailored fishing. It was literally like flat calm, drop your anchor, catch limits of bluefin, go fish rockfish.
Oh my God!
You're getting the best of both worlds. The guys are loading up bags all day. You come back, you get an evening bite, and you pick away a few more bluefin, and then you wake up on the second morning, and you finish off your limits for day 2, and go catch your day 2 rockfish and go home, and everybody's walking off the boat with all kinds of fish. I mean, that's bitching.
Yeah.
Fishing. I like that too, and I like June. I like June at the islands, and I like fall offshore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I'm the same way, man. But that fall weather is usually, the wind doesn't blow all. Normally we've had some windy weather here recently.
I can't remember the last 2 Novembers, like late Novembers, like going into Thanksgiving, it's been really good fishing.
Yeah.
Some of the better fishing we have all year. Like it was good fishing, man.
I know.
Like they were quality bluefin too. They weren't those little normal bank fish. Like we were catching, 35, 40 pounders on the anchor, and needless to say, the rockfish on the bank's good. So
how freaking spoiled are we now with this bluefin? Remember the days when you get 10 bluefin on the boat and think you had a really great day?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, man, we're spoiled now, aren't we?
It's gotten, it's like I said, it's different. It's certainly different. I remember like catching a couple of big ones back in the day when I worked for Curtis on that Aztec, and that was like a big deal. But now, you put a couple 100-pounders in the count, nobody bats an eye about it.
I know. We've almost been going 2 hours, you and
Have
I. Yeah, we're 100 minutes into this thing, man.
Nice.
Anybody else have a question out there? Hit Jeff up before he gets to go home and crash and then come down here and do it all again. You got a little bit of time. Christopher Martinez just wants to say hi to the Friedman Adventures family. Thank you, Christopher. Looking back at that freaking Dorado bite, was that an incredible bite?
That was pretty all-time. Yeah, that was pretty all-time. We haven't seen anything like that. I've never seen anything like
Me
that.
either.
Not that. I mean, I've seen good Dorado fishing. Like, you may find a kelp that's,
Jug.
good.
Yeah.
I remember seeing good Dorado fishing, but I've never seen it like that.
Yeah, I know.
Not like that.
Over that big of an area with everybody getting in on it, and
Not like that.
That was incredible, wasn't it?
I actually remember when that started because we ran down the beach, and that was at the tail end of like that yellowtail being on the kelps, which, by the way, that was pretty phenomenal last year too. Probably some of the better kelp fishing I've seen. I mean, we had some pretty epic days on quality yellowtail on the kelps, not what you think kelp yellowtail are. Like we had 100, 200 fish days on
nice fish,
big fish,
yeah,
like 15 to 20 pound yellow.
Yeah, those are pitching.
And anyways, I remember Tino had pretty good fishing in U.S. waters. We overshot the fish by quite a ways. We had to turn around. We went back up the line. We got up there. This is where a 2-day trip comes in handy because we didn't catch a whole lot the first day.
Yeah.
And we got back up the line like at the very tail end of day 1, and we started seeing it. Like we're like, this is like breezers up, and you'd get on them. You're like, oh shit, this is all Dorado.
Yeah.
And then we had really good fishing on day 2 of this one particular trip I'm thinking of. And that's kind of what started. Like we would see all this Dorado, you'd catch a little bit of it. Like you'd see a breezer and catch a few, or go on a kelp and see hundreds of them and maybe catch 15 or something. But then it turned on, and when it did, it was like, man, that was something else.
I know. Just and how far north actually all that fish. I mean, there was frickin' fish.
I have no idea where it came from, and I have no idea where it went. Well, I have a pretty good idea where it went, but I don't know where it came from.
And will it be back? That's a question that, now we got this cold water. It's like, who knows what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
We got this warm water event down in Peru right now with this El Nino brewing, and
that would be nice.
All I can say is it's going to be a fascinating year.
Yeah,
really,
for sure.
It's really going to be good. Cue ball. When I got my 100, he got a 100-pound bluefin. We got 41 fish that day, all 100-pounders on the Aztec with Greg. He says, "Naughty boy, sorry to show up late, but I gave thumbs up. Always a great show. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. Hit that thumbs up button. Appreciate everything. Jamie Argent wants to know, where's the Apollo out of? I'll let you tell him. Right out that door.
Yeah, it's right outside the door. 22nd Street currently. Be in San Diego, Seaforth Sportfishing, July 1st.
Cue Ball says La Paz for Dorado. There's no comparison. I don't know, man. I've fished La Paz. I fished all those areas. This thing out here was as ridiculous as I've ever seen it.
It is.
Every bit as good as the Ridge.
Yeah.
On a fall Dorado. Yeah. It was insane.
Well, we'll see what this year has.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Turbo 2, please smash the like button. Cue Ball loves Tino. Everybody's smashing the like button. Well, I mean, we could wind this up because I know you're probably jonesing to get some sleep tonight, right? What are you doing tomorrow?
I'm doing boat work first thing in the morning. So yeah, like I said, the Freedom schedule's online, running open parties. It's online daily. I know they're getting out Friday night and they've got some room. So if anybody wants to go fishing on the Freedom,
what are they doing right now? What's the game plan for them?
They'll probably either be fishing, I would assume, either San Clemente, looking around in the morning probably for any sign of
sea bass
or anything, and then probably fishing rockfish in the afternoon, or San Nicolas. We have openings on the Amigo. If anybody wants, we do have some openings left. Our summer, fall months have really booked up. We do have a little bit of spring opening. If anybody's interested in the Amigo,
best way is to call landing, or
call landing, call Leah.
Yeah.
Or check out our website. Our website has same thing. All our information has the calendar tab. You can see any dates that are open. Monte Carlo is running daily, 10 a.m. right now, 10 to 4, and
they're catching good rockfish.
And yeah, they've been busy. We've been actually carrying decent loads, and then we'll switch over to double half day in the summer, and then all our boats are online here at this point. Freedom's online. Pursuits every morning 6 a.m. Native Sun 7 a.m. So we're starting to rock and roll here.
All right, good. David Alcanzar, I was on a 2-day trip on the Aztec late July last year. The yellowtail bite was insane. Then late August, Dorado, I was off work. I was on a boat August, September, out of any landing that had an open spot. Yeah, nobody had any open spots, right? I mean, everybody was sold out.
That was good.
Freaking incredible, right?
Yeah.
And I remember prior to that, it was a little slow. Like, things were not clicking. I remember some of the guys here like, God darn, when, and then all of a sudden, man, that's the amazing part about this business.
Yeah.
It just, boom.
Something's there to bail you out.
What was that, like a month straight?
Yeah, it was good because there was still some bluefin behind the island. So guys were going in there and fishing at Dorado and then run out there and get some nighttime bluefin fishing in.
Yeah.
That was good. It was definitely noteworthy.
Oh, my. It's something I'll never forget. And every time, I remember as a kid out of Redondo, there were those summers when you'd catch like 3 blue perch on the afternoon half-day trip and a blacksmith for 80 people. And you'd be like, I was saying to myself, this business is never going to be able to survive. It's just...
Well, we had a couple of lean years. Those, like,
boom!
I want to say 2011,
was it
12,
lean?
13, somewhere in there. I don't know. There was a couple of some pretty lean years in there. And and 14 rolled around, man, and it was...
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, we have I think some of the Southern California fishing right now is the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, we're in a good cycle.
Yeah.
We're in a good cycle.
And so when it goes down...
We're in a good place. I have no complaints. I just wish all the powers that be would leave us alone for a while.
Yeah, like who? What are you talking about? The people that try to restrict your fishing and everything?
Just everybody. The state, the government, etc.
You care to elaborate on that, or should we leave that alone?
You want to be out here for another 2 hours?
Know what you mean, man. I mean, they're trying... who are they? But the people that are trying to take the outdoors away from, especially kids, it's criminal.
It's very difficult sometimes to deal with all these, like I told you earlier, like, just have all these different entities that seem to always have some new form of regulation or some new idea. And if you're just, you're over here fighting one, and as soon as you're done with that, then some other agency comes along, and when you're done with them, it's a battle, man.
Yeah,
it really is. It's a battle. And, I don't even know what the answer is. I'd say, you encourage people to go out and vote, but I don't even know if that's always the answer, because you've seen the results of it.
I know.
It's like either we're that dumb that this is what we vote for, or the system's rigged. I don't know. I don't want to get into that, but that's, I don't know what to say. But
there's some quote. I think it was. I can't remember who it was, but the quote is something like, "The American people get what they deserve, and they deserve it good and hard." So I mean, you get what you vote for, and then you get it like good and hard, man. And so, what's your opinion about the rockfish regs this year? Did you think that was unnecessary?
Totally.
Yeah.
Stupid. Just one more instance of them not sitting us down and talking with us or including us in a conversation.
Why don't they do that? Because
they don't. I don't
elitists.
think they care what we have to say.
They're much smarter than you are. I mean, I'm not saying that that's the fact, but they feel that way.
Well, so who woke up and crawled out from under what rock and decided that chucklehead weren't as plentiful as they should be? As far as I know, this had a lot to do with the sampling procedures that went on during COVID.
Yeah.
And they're taking samples and basing it off of what they're seeing locally, right? Like, you're not going to go out on Potter's Reef and see a bunch of chucklehead.
Yeah, right.
You're just not. And for that matter, we fish on the banks. Like, I've fished on the banks my whole life. Tanner, Cortez, the other banks when they were open, and you don't see a lot of chucklehead out there. There are places where we do see them. You catch a lot of them at Nick. You catch them at Santa Barbara. You catch them up at Santa Rosa. But there's places where you see that, and you can't base populations off of one little local area. And I think that's where us being involved in a conversation with these people would be key.
Yeah.
Is that, hey, you know what? Like, we're kind of doing this from a desk. What do you see? What do you think? Like, there's a lot of us that have 25 or more years experience doing this, running boats. Like, we have something to bring to the table.
Sure.
As far as, practical knowledge. So, Ken Frankie's done a good job at trying to mitigate this whole thing. My hat's off to him because I know he's got a full plate. But it's stupid. And there was no need for this, really. I mean, there wasn't. And hopefully it changes when they see the real data. Is we're going to take some of these people out to Nick and show them what chucklehead fishing's really like. Yeah. And hopefully it'll change. But
is that going to happen?
That doesn't mean that we show them that and tomorrow it's not blue bass or whitefish or God knows what. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, Danny Cadota, who comes on here, he's got a show on Thursdays. He's really anti, like, the regs that come down. He saw it from the Russ Iser days, and he says they're based on nothing. And they won't listen to the guys.
I could do a better job managing this fishery from my bedroom. I could. Because I know I could offer some valuable changes that I think would really help change this fishery for the better. Yeah. And I don't think anybody would have a problem with any of it, as far as like guys that run boats or guys that. Do
you want to mention one thing? Like, you know what? Let me give you one.
Well, I'll mention one.
Go ahead.
I don't think we need to catch tenderado.
Okay.
I agree. That's just one example. Yeah. But I'm just giving you something that I would suggest that the average guy that goes on one of these boats does not need to keep tenderado. Right. They don't. Right. And I have a lot of other ideas, and I'm sure plenty of other guys do too. And I'm not speaking on behalf of the whole industry, but I'm just telling you that there's better ways to manage this fishery that would make real sense and real change versus. I'm never for this shut something down or take something away. Like, we make a living doing what we do, right? We have a tremendous amount of money invested into our boats, and this is our life. Yeah. And when you just simply wake up and take something away, like they did this month, like they take away March, you just took away a whole month. I mean, like, the Pursuit ran 27 days, I think, last March. They ran like 2 this March. That's a significant amount of income that you're taking out of somebody's pocket.
You ought to have a good reason to do it.
Or subsidize a guy. Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a month out of you, but we're going to give you, we're going to average out your records over the last 10 years, and come up with an average, and here you go. We're
Yeah.
going to pay you this much money
Makes sense.
to sit at the dock. Since you poured the same amount of money into your boat, your crew is now sitting around doing nothing. Like, somebody's got
makes
to be
sense.
accountable for that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
It does to me too.
And there's better ways to handle this.
David Alcantar, I love seeing the boats be successful and the crews making money. Cheers, boys. Oh, Scott Bucher, finally he said it. Jeff is way better than Philip on the show. He says that all the time. And whoever the guest is, he's way better. Jeff rocks. Scott, you little... Nah, I'm not going to say it. Dave Clark says, you knew it was coming. Oh, yeah, I knew it was coming, Dave. Jamie Argent, we will save that for a boat ride. Love this guy. They love you. All of a sudden, number one, sea lion removal. Sea lions suck.
Well, yeah,
That's
sure.
That's another one?
Well, yeah, I mean,
What are you gonna do
they're not
then?
doing our fishery any favors. What are you going to do about that? That's a feel-good thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're up here. They've got hoses running 24 hours a day up here, watering sea lions. And,
I know.
You know, like nature doesn't even take its course. I'd rather go give that money to the homeless, but that's me.
Yeah. Yeah. Slot limits on sheep's head and calico
Slot
bass.
limits would be great on bass.
Right?
I think a slot limit would be great
Me
on
too.
bass. It'd be great for our fishery. I don't think the sea lions will ever get the amount of credit that they deserve for the detriment of our fishery.
Right.
They just won't.
Right.
I mean, there's not. That's a whole nother story that we'll never be able to tap into that one.
I agree.
But there's a lot of common sense things you could do that would make this fishery. I just want to be left alone to run my businesses, pay my taxes, support my family, without having to come out of my house every day with a sword and a shield and fight my way to the boat and fight my way home against all the powers that be.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, you no sooner get done wiping the sweat off of your forehead from fighting a battle like the Tier 4 engines, you know, that we went through that whole thing. It was going to be the end of sport fishing, and we won. And you can't even have time to high five a guy that, wow, I'm glad we just saved our own ass. And you walk out the door and somebody slaps you in the face with, you know, now you can't fish in March, or now you got to burn biodiesel for more money, and or whatever. You know, it's always something. But I guess that's just the nature of the world we live in now.
Yeah. Has that been a thing through the entire time you've been in fishing, or is it more?
It's been like this since about 1999.
Uh-huh.
I think it was the Wild West before that.
Yeah.
I mean, we always dealt with fish and game to some extent. There was always laws to abide by, as there should be. But since about 2000 on, it started with closures and regulatory process and things like that. And it's a lot to deal with. Like, you know, it's classic divide and conquer.
Yeah.
When this first came out, they started way up north after the salmon guys. Well, nobody gives a shit down here. It's like just the salmon guys. We don't make a living on that. So nobody cared. Nobody wanted to get together and fight for it.
Yeah.
Well, they took this. They hit those guys, and then they came to the Central Coast, and they closed a bunch of sections of the Central Coast. Well, nobody cared because it's the Central Coast.
Yeah.
Well, then they came to the Channel Islands, and then they closed the Channel Islands, and they have these meetings in these way out places, like on a Tuesday night at
Where you can't
6
participate.
p.m. when you know you got to fight traffic and go way up there to have your voice heard for 30 seconds, and then guess what? They took the Channel Islands, and guess where they came next?
Yeah.
Right here, all the way down to the Mexican border.
Yeah.
So I guess if there's a lesson to be learned, it's safety in numbers. Like I've seen them try to split commercial guys from sport guys.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, the NRA is a great example. It's like a unified organization that does a lot of great things for kids and people, but they also draw their line and they fight for it. And fishermen need to be the same way. And I think, you know, SAC does a great job, but it needs to be bigger. There needs to be more. There needs to be more involvement
Include
from
more
everybody. Yeah, I mean, it's
Outdoorsmen or whatever, right? I mean, because look what happened to Guadalupe Island. The divers, you know, they were kind of, I don't know that they aligned themselves with fishermen so much, but now they can clearly see where that would have been beneficial to be a group.
most guys that hunt like to fish. Most guys that fish like to hunt or like the shooting sports. It's all like, you know, I guess it's You know, people get sick of fighting for everything all the time,
I
but
guess.
you don't want your rights taken away either.
I'm trying to get you out of here, but we have a few more questions. Albert Pont, someone should start taking signatures to do a sea lion population review, or have Netflix produce a documentary on how bad they are for the fisheries. People love, seals and sea lions, and it's hard to get the general public to see that, I think.
Well,
right?
it's because, yes, and I'll tell you why. It's because, like with anything else, the media controls the narrative. You can spin any story any way you want to make it seem, even just by the caption or the headline, to make it seem,
Oh, totally.
who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, and what they want you to believe, right? Like somebody can make a documentary and say, well, let's go look at sea lions and their overpopulation. Sounds like an interesting story. Let's check it out. Well, you and I could sit and watch that and come to the conclusion that there's no more apex predators. Sea lions are overpopulated. They have to eat their body weight a day. There's not enough fish to sustain this. Our fisheries, it's going to take a toll on our fishery, right?
Yeah.
But somebody else can make that same documentary and be like, oh, look at the detrimental effects that the humans have had on sea lions.
Right.
They're washing up on the beach, and look at this great work that these people are doing up here in a nonprofit organization by taking them all up here and feeding them gruel and pouring water over them all day, right? It's a great thing. It's a feel-good thing. So it's all in your perception of it, and it's all in how whoever's filming it spins it. It's like anything, like politics, all of it. That's how it is.
We better not go that way. We'll have another show for about 4 hours tonight. Hey, I don't see a question up there, Jeff.
All right,
Always
folks.
good to see you, man. Thanks for
bet.
spending time here tonight. Why don't you, because we don't have a big staff here, I'll let you look into the camera and give whatever you want to do, the Apollo's stuff or whatever, and then...
All the boats, we're open for business, 22nd Street Landing. You can give the landing a call anytime, 310-832-8304. You can talk to a live operator in there, get on any boat of your choice. Check our website out, 22ndstreet.com. Like I said, Monte Carlo daily 10 to 4. Freedom's 10 p.m., Island Freelance. You want to charter the Apollo or the Amigo, you can go to amigosportfishing.com or apollocharters.com, and we'd love to see any one of you guys out here on the water.
Hey, Jeff, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for dropping by.
You bet. Take care, guys.